He's still my boy. He may have gotten bombed out by Rodtang in one of the most anticipated kickboxing fights going, but I'm still excited for what Takeru has going next. Here he is in some of his more new training clips. I've had to mute the sound because he's got Linkin Park blasting over all of them. I'm professional mixed martial artist, 13-3 record, and full-time coach George Hardwick. Let's break down what's happening in his new training videos. Subscribe if you like the content. So first, he's hitting pads with Mr. Watanabe, Mr. Gundam himself, practicing his calf kicks. And we can already see in a lot of these clips that his Padman is throwing a lot more hooks back, and he's going to use a variety of defenses for the hooks. Most of the time, catching and firing back. So catching and firing back with the left hook, or catching and firing back with the calf kick there. We see as Watanabe throws a left hook, he's going to catch on his glove and then fire the calf kick in. Very hard to throw a left hook and then defend the calf kick after. Even if you don't pivot, even if you don't toe in on your left hook, you're going to expose that calf and it's going to be very difficult to turn your hips the other way. So catching that left hook on the gloves and then firing the calf kick. A lot of use of the calf kick by Takeru. First fight he really spammed the calf kick was Leona Pettis. The one where he hits the right straight, knocks him down, and then throws a left hook and pretty much flies across the ring because he's throwing that left hook. But yeah, catching and then firing back with the calf kick. Also catching the right hook and firing back with his own left hook. Generally catching and firing back on the same side that he's caught with. We'll see in this later clip that he uses a few lean backs, a few pushaways. Here he's having a sparring session. Well, it's not really a session, it's more for whatever his sponsor is or whatever the media is that's going on. But he's using a lot of left kicks, a lot of hook cross hook, a lot of left kick off the same side hook, or throwing body hook into right low kick. That's classic. We see that from Takeru a lot. Obviously, you throw a left body hook, boom, their weight's going to fall into that leg. It's going to be very difficult for them to pick that leg up to check because the weight's going to be planted on it. Nice classic combination. He's probably not trying to throw anything too new or too complicated. Here he is with Tsutomi, I believe the pronunciation is, hammering in right kicks. Maybe that's indicative that he's going to be fighting a southpaw. Normally it's the left kicks he's blasting on a pad video, so he might be fighting a southpaw next. Maybe there's no news, but we generally see with Takeru especially, and a lot of Vasilis fighters, there's not a full opening up of the hip on the kick. The kick kind of comes up at 45 degree, so they're ready to step down, straight down into the stance. It might be slightly more square, but they can step down and throw those punches as well. They kick up underneath the elbow. If he's fighting another orthodox fighter next, it might not come up under the elbow as good. It might just catch at the elbow. A lot of the times when you see people throw right kicks against another orthodox fighter, I think like a Salapatai or a Singdam, they will curve it in and then externally rotate on the retraction, so it's hard to catch. Obviously, you don't have to worry about the catches as much in kickboxing. Same thing, using that calf kick as a counter, not just for the left hook, but generally, whenever someone steps heavy trying to use the lead hand, that calf kick is there. Orthodox. Boom, he goes inside kick as well, and the toe kick. The Mizaku Geri, someone in the comments, correct me if you know all that Kyokushin weeb terminology to the maximum, because I'm still a bit struggling with it. But yeah. Padman is throwing a lot more hooks back. There's a left high kick. See, you can one pad the left high kick even with a focus mitt. You're not going to practice really slamming through the kick and slamming through hard, but sometimes that kick that just kind of touches on the end is the most damaging kick. I remember when I got my jaw broken, it was actually quite a technical spar. It wasn't like the most malicious kick in the world. It just kind of flicked and hit that right, correct part of the kick, where it had that little whip and that little pulse at the end. There's a lean back off the left hook. Lean back is probably not the best defense for Takeru to start implementing. I forget the name of the guy who caught him and knocked him down. It was because Takeru was backing up on a straight line, bringing his head straight up, but he's using that roll off to the right after his right straight. Here, let's go back where he throws his knee. He throws a knee at some point, and his Padman Watanabe throws a hook back, and he uses a frame to defend the hook. See if we can pinpoint the moment. There he's throwing his classic combinations, hooks into low kicks, generally left hook into left low kick. I think he's going to throw the right knee coming up here, throws a low kick, right knee, and then he uses that stiff arm. Stiff arm, very good option off of that knee to defend the returning left hook, because you can kind of push on that shoulder. You can get your own shoulder and tricep in the way of the return hook, and generally as you push on that shoulder, boom, 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 it's going to send the hook a little bit skyward, and it's going to make him off balance. Obviously, Takeru's not like the most defensively minded kickboxer ever. But a really good example of this from the opposite stance is Giorgio Petrosian, always using that left knee and then throwing the left hand, not even throwing the left hand, just pushing with the left hand, any point, the shoulder, the forehead, just to stop the return. Toe kicks there, nice into the left body hook, blocking that overhand right as someone extends, even if they're throwing a right hand, if you can catch on the gloves and fire back at the same time, you'll probably catch the calf nice and solid. Here he hits, was it a right straight or a right uppercut? Let's see. Boom. He hits a left hook and rolls off, and then he's using these jabs in between combinations. Probably a nice touch, just these touch jabs where they're not as fully committed. Because Takeru, he can throw everything really fully committed, and that can make him a bit planted and a bit harder to get out. So those like little jabs between combinations, probably a really good idea. If you look at Brandon Moreno, who has some similarities in build, like a relatively narrow torso, but long arms, so he can leverage into these hooks and overhands. Brandon Moreno, how many times have you seen him throw a loopy left hook body, a big overhand right, and then just jab between to disrupt his opponent's counter? Body hook rolling off, into uppercut body hook, 1-2 rolling off, nice and classic. He gets the angle on the roll as well. He doesn't just roll right in front of him because then he's going to be open for the follow-up shots. Nice to see this amount of head movement getting put into the combinations here. Mr. Watanabe, Mr. Gundam, Mr. Transformer, Devastation for PS4. Nice to see him throwing this amount of hooks back because Takeru can sometimes be open for these hooks, especially if someone lunges at him because he tends to back up on these straight lines. If he intercepts him with a knee or a hook of himself, or maybe sometimes even a low kick, it can work out well for Takeru, but it is a bit of a gamble. Generally, on the back foot, he's not as defensively minded. He gets a little bit taller on the back foot, whereas you probably want to sink down a little bit. I know he's way more versed in kickboxing than me, and it feels wrong to say what he should be doing, but he does generally get a little bit tall on the back foot. So it's nice to see him mixing these rolls and mixing these defenses on hooks. I wonder who he's going to be fighting next. Let me know in the comment who you think he's going to be fighting next. Who I should break down next, if there's any cool training clips around. I know I've done Takeru, Yoza, Terada, Noiri to death, but if there's any really cool padmen, let me know. I like to see all that stuff. Have a nice day. It's very sunny. Get yourself into the sea, but probably when the tide's coming in. That's just me not being a very confident swimmer. I don't know where I'm ending this. I really like swimming, but I'm not very good at it.